Hey guys, happy December to you all. Can you guys believe that it's December already? I really can't. It just seems like this year went by so quickly. That's how I know I'm getting old, is that all of a sudden time is just speeding by. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. It's like, okay, life, slow down. So I am here to do my November wrap up, and I had a pretty good month. I read 4 books, which is, decent. It seems to be my reoccurring theme. I think for the last 2 months I've read only 4 books, so it seems to be my number. But they were all good books, so let me tell you about them. The first book that I read in the month of November was Forbidden by Tabitha Zazuma. And this is a book that I think everyone knows about by now. This is the YA novel about consensual incest. And I remember there being a lot of buzz about this book this time last year. And I remember when I first heard about it, I thought, holy crap, how is this author even going to attempt this subject? And I really bought it because of the controversial subject matter. I got to be honest. I was like, okay, well, that's a gimmick. So I bought it at the beginning of this year, and then I didn't touch it. And I can't believe it took me so long to read this book. This is, there are books that you read, and, you're really glad that you read them. They were really good books, and you really enjoyed them. But, but then you can sort of move on to the next book without too much trouble. Well, this is one of those books that, at least for me anyway, really stuck with me. I really thought about this book days afterwards. This is a book about Maya and Lochan, and they are brother and sister, and they have sort of an unusual family dynamic because the mother is really absent. I mean, she's there, but she's gone a lot. And so Lochan and Maya have to basically raise the other kids in their family, which sort of sets up a different relationship for them. And over time, that relationship gets more complicated and they begin to fall in love. And it is so well written. This gets a gigantic thumbs up. This gets like all the thumbs up. It is so well written. It is so well done. The author approaches the subject with so much sensitivity, and you really become engaged in these characters. This is not a small book. This is over 400 pages, and I read this book cover to cover in one sitting. I am not even joking you. I was so much involved in the story that I just couldn't put it down. I had to see it through to the end. It's so good. It's so good, you guys. I definitely recommend that you read it if you haven't, if you have second thoughts. It really is worth it. It is mature content, so I would say this is definitely for older YA readers. There are a couple of scenes in there that I would think probably 16, 17 and up, maybe, but it's so good. This is one of those books that I think it may be one of the most powerful books I've ever read, honestly. The next book that I read was Little House on the Prairie by Laura Ingalls Wilder, and I really thought I had read this book. When you're, the series that you read when you're younger, those sort of childhood books, if you've read some of the books in the series, you kind of assume after a while that you read all of them. But I was looking over the list of all of the books in the series, and I realized that there were a few of them that I hadn't read, which seems incomprehensible to me, but it's true. So I decided, just as a little fun thing, that I would reread the books in their series that I had already read, and then read for the first time the books that I hadn't, and just sort of go through the series in chronological order. So I read Little House in the Big Woods last month, and I decided not to include it in my wrap-up because it was a reread, but this book was a new-to-me book, so I decided to read it this month, and of course it gets a thumbs up. I mean, this is a beloved author for a reason. These are really cozy, warm, good old-fashioned pioneer fun books, and just really enjoyable, really fun to read. So yeah, thumbs up. And speaking of beloved childhood authors, the next book that I read was An Old-Fashioned Thanksgiving by Louisa May Alcott. And I read this on my Kindle, and I would normally show you a cover of it on here, but this particular Kindle version did not have a cover, so I will show you a cover here. So this is a really, really sweet story that I've been wanting to read for a while during Thanksgiving because somehow that seemed appropriate. And it, of course, gets a thumbs up. It is a really, really sweet story about a family living in the 19th century, and the parents have to leave right in the middle of preparing Thanksgiving because they need to take care of a sick loved one. And so the kids are left to sort of fend for themselves, and they decide to prepare a Thanksgiving meal and all of the hilarity and hijinks that ensue as a result of that. And it's perfect. It's a very short story. I mean, less than 100 pages really, or just over 100 pages. And it's really cute and sweet and just, a good old-fashioned Thanksgiving. I mean, how can you go wrong? And then the last book that I read in the month of November was Velveteen by Daniel Marks. Isn't that a cool cover, you guys? It's so cool. So all of us booktubers here on YouTube love Danny Marks, and I will leave a link to his YouTube channel down below. And it was so cool to be reading a book by someone that you kind of know. I mean, not really as in that we've never met, but the way that we all feel like we sort of know each other here on YouTube. And, at the same time, there was some pressure because it was sort of like, oh, God, what if I don't like it? That's awkward. But luckily, I really, really enjoyed it. This gets a big thumbs up. It was unlike any YA novel I have ever read. It is about a girl named Velveteen Monroe, and she was killed by Bonesaw, a serial killer of young girls. But she is stuck in purgatory. And she actually has a job in purgatory as part of the salvage team. But her obsession with getting even with her killer definitely interferes with her job. Plus, there are some rumblings in purgatory, in the world of purgatory, that definitely threatens the dynamics that they have there. And then on top of that, there is a new boy in her life. And she's got a lot going on. It is such an interesting story. It is just, like I said, it's so different. It's so unique. You can definitely see Danny's personality, definitely the humor in the book. You can sort of hear him talking behind all of the characters. I was worried about reading it, honestly, though, because I am such a wimp. I really am. So I was nervous that the violence in the story, because he had warned us it was going to be kind of gory, was going to be too much for me. And while there are definitely some scenes that, I struggled with, it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be, but it's definitely creepy, and that really just adds to the whole tone of the story. So anyway, great job, Danny. I really, really enjoyed it. Big thumbs up. So that was my November wrap-up. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for my December TBR. Bye!